You wake up. There is no light, only the damp pulse of water breathing beneath your skin. You hear a voice, not your own, yet it crawls inside you as if it has always lived there. It says, "You think you know yourself. You don't." And in that instant, the reflection before you trembles, as if the water knew the truth before you did. Something moves behind the liquid mirror, a shadow that shifts when you do not. It doesn't attack. It doesn't beg. It only watches. Your breath merges with its rhythm, 2 heartbeats, 1 guilt. You wonder how many times you've buried parts of yourself just to keep smiling. The air smells of old metal, of rusted memories that bleed slowly. There is no evil here, only what was forgotten. The voice returns, closer now, soft, almost tender. The mind hides what it cannot bear to see. A cold current touches your neck. Curiosity overcomes fear. You lean toward the trembling reflection, and the voice whispers, "Come closer. Let's see what you buried." The air thickens as you move forward, the sound of dripping water turning into something like a heartbeat. Ahead, a door stands crooked, its surface corroded by time, its edges pulsing faintly like flesh. A single word is carved into the rust, denial. You hesitate. Your hand trembles before the handle, slick with something that feels too warm to be water. The voice behind you whispers, "Open it." You built it yourself. You turn the handle, and the hinges groan like something old trying to breathe again. Inside, fragments. A child running barefoot through a narrow street. A mother's voice, proud but tired. A lie you told so small it barely made a sound, yet it grew roots deep and poisonous. You see moments stitched together by shame disguised as logic. Excuses that became your comfort. Smiles that hid your trembling. You want to step back, but the floor feels alive, pulling you deeper into your own past. Every flash burns, faces, laughter, silence, all demanding to be remembered. The voice murmurs, almost pitying, "Every saint keeps a diary no one must read." In the corner of the room, something moves, small, shivering, barely breathing. You take a step closer, and your heartbeat slows, heavy with recognition. It's you. The child you buried beneath years of pretending. Knees pulled to the chest, eyes wide with the kind of fear that never truly dies. The air hums with silence, that cruel kind that follows after someone stops believing they're worth saving. The voice whispers, "You abandoned them when the world said to grow up." You watch as the child flinches from your gaze, hiding behind the walls you built. They do not speak, but their eyes say everything. "Why did you leave me when I needed you most?" You kneel, and the distance between past and present dissolves. Their small hands tremble, reaching for yours, but stop halfway, afraid of rejection again. And suddenly you understand. The shadow was never your enemy. It was the echo of the one who loved without armor, who felt too deeply. The voice softens, almost a prayer. To meet your shadow, you must first forgive the child you punished for feeling. You stand surrounded by mirrors, countless, infinite, each one reflecting a different you. The polite one who smiles even when breaking. The charming one who lies just enough to be loved. The rational one who buries every scream beneath the logic of survival. Each reflection nods back, rehearsed, mechanical, a theater of sanity built to please unseen eyes. The voice drifts around you, echoing through glass. These are your masks, each one worn to survive judgment. You touch the surface, and it ripples like hot breath. From beneath, something stirs, faces begin to melt, their painted calm dripping like candle wax. Your reflection smiles still, though its skin slides down its bones. You feel the heat now, invisible but merciless, the truth burning through illusion. The air reeks of perfume and decay, of all the times you said, "I'm fine," while drowning. The mirrors begin to crack one by one, the sound sharp as confession. The voice lingers, cold and knowing. The mask protects you until it becomes your face. You walk through a corridor made of whispers. Each wall breathes softly, repeating words you've tried to forget. They echo, not as memories but as commandments. Your mother's voice, sharp as winter glass. Your teacher's sigh, heavy with disappointment. A lover's silence, that felt like judgment carved into air. The hall stretches endlessly, its architecture shaped by every time you lowered your eyes instead of speaking. Each brick bears a name: obedience, guilt, apology. The mortar smells of fear, the same kind that taught you to smile when you wanted to scream. The voice beside you, the archivist, walks slowly, hand tracing the walls as if reading a scripture of your wounds. You built this, it says. Every shame became a stone, every silence a door that closed behind you. You realize the structure is not outside, it's inside, pulsing behind your ribs. A cathedral of quiet suffering, worshipped in secret. The air tightens. The walls lean closer, listening. The voice murmurs, "You thought you were free but your walls have names. You were taught to chase the light, to believe that purity meant safety, that goodness was a ladder leading out of pain. But as you climb, the brightness sears your eyes until everything turns white, empty, blinding. You realize the light does not heal. It hides. The voice circles you like smoke. You believed light was truth. But light can lie. It reveals what flatters, conceals what stains. The kind smile masking contempt. The prayer whispered for reputation, not redemption. The gentle words spoken only when someone is watching. You see now, every time you performed virtue, you buried another truth alive. Anger, envy, desire, locked away like criminals in your own chest. But they never died. They waited patient beneath the glow of your perfection. The air flickers. The false light trembles, exposing the rot beneath its shine. You feel it, the shadow stirring, fed by every denied emotion. The voice leans close, almost whispering against your ear. Your obsession with purity made your shadow stronger. You step into a garden that should not exist. The air hums with sweetness, thick and wrong. Beneath your feet the soil pulses, soft, alive, breathing with the rhythm of everything you buried. From it bloom flowers too vivid, too human. A red one sighs with the breath of your anger. A pale one trembles with envy. Another drips nectar that smells like desire left too long in the dark. You touch a petal, and it shivers, whispering your secrets in a tongue only guilt understands. Each stem is a vein, each leaf a memory. The garden feeds on what you refuse to feel. The voice behind you murmurs, heavy with knowing. What you suppress grows roots. The beauty here is unbearable, every blossom a wound dressed in fragrance. You realize this place was always inside you, blooming quietly beneath your silence. You kneel, trembling, reaching for a single black rose. But when you pull it, the earth grips back. A hand, your own, rising from below. Pull one weed, the voice says, and you'll find the hand of your true self gripping back. The ground quivers. From the soil, a sound, low, familiar, almost human. You freeze as a voice emerges, roughened by years of silence. It is your own, but older, deeper, tired. I was never your enemy, it says. You made me a monster because you were afraid to listen. Each word feels like a confession you once tried to forget. You see flashes, the moments you lied to yourself, the faces you wore to survive. The shadow doesn't threaten, it remembers. It speaks of every truth you exiled, every emotion you labeled unworthy. You try to look away, but the voice follows, steady, unblinking. I carried what you could not face, it says, and you called me darkness. Your throat tightens. The echo inside you finally aligns. The divided selves staring at each other. The voice fades, leaving only stillness and understanding. It never wanted to destroy you, the narrator whispers. It only wanted to be seen. The voice returns, slow and deliberate, like a judge speaking in a forgotten language. The ego made a bargain, it says. I'll protect you from pain if you pretend to be perfect. You feel the weight of those words settle like stone in your chest. You remember the countless times you smiled while bleeding inside, the rehearsed laughter, the silences that became your shield. Every glance you gave was a performance, a currency paid to keep the fear away. The ego promised safety, but it demanded an unending act. Now you see it clearly. The pact was a prison. You have lived behind masks, living applause and silent screams. The performance never ends. It shapes you, twists you, erases you. The voice leans close, low as the closing of a grave. The ego builds castles to defend against ghosts, but ghosts walk through walls. You stand before a pool so dark it swallows the air around it. The surface is still, unnervingly still, as if holding its breath. You lean closer, drawn by something you cannot name. The voice speaks softly. You keep asking who you are, but you never ask why you hide. Beneath the glassy black, eyes open, not one reflection, but countless. The polite face, the fearful face, the angry face you buried. They stare, unblinking, as if waiting for you to answer. You feel them reach into you, pulling at threads you thought were lost. The air grows heavy, scent of old water and cold stone curling around your lungs. A silence heavier than thought falls between you and the pool. Then it stirs. The water ripples slowly, impossibly, and one reflection lifts a hand, reaching toward you. The reflection fades, and the air around you fractures. A sharp crack runs through your chest, as if your own ribs have begun to split. Memories rush in, unbidden, relentless, a betrayal whispered in the dark, an envy that ate your mornings. A lust that left you hollow, cowardice that dressed itself as wisdom. They crash over you one after another until there is nothing but noise and pain. The voice is close now, steady, uncompromising. Do not look away. You want to close your eyes, to escape. But something deeper pulls you to stare. This is the moment your identity collides with truth, brutal, unfiltered. Pain blooms like a wound that will not close. You gasp, the world tilting beneath the weight of your own self. The voice speaks, softly, almost tenderly. Now that the mask is gone, do you still recognize the person underneath? It rises before you, not from the shadows, but from memory itself. A shape stitched from every regret you have ever swallowed. Its skin glistens with your lies. Its breath smells of every apology you never gave. It moves with the slow certainty of truth. You do not call it evil. The voice whispers, "This is honesty given form." You see yourself in its eyes, not whole but broken, beautiful, terrible. It does not roar. It does not strike. It simply stands, waiting, and in its stillness is the weight of your own conscience. The air smells of ash and tears. You step closer, trembling, and the voice murmurs, "Every monster was once a memory that begged for mercy." The creature dissolves into shadows, leaving only silence thick enough to press against your lungs. And now the weight settles. Not punishment, not fire, not judgment, but the full, suffocating gravity of all you have done, all you have hidden, all you have ignored. The voice comes soft, almost a hand on your shoulder. This is not hell. This is responsibility. You feel the years compressing into your chest, each memory a stone. Every face you hurt, every promise you broke, every kindness you withheld, all witnessed, all carried. No one blames you here. No one needs to. The weight exists because it must. You inhale slowly, tasting the metallic tang of remorse. It is exhausting, unbearable, and yet strangely liberating. The voice whispers again, steady as gravity. Only those who face guilt can be trusted with freedom. The reflection shudders. The ideal self, polished, confident, immaculate, begins to crack. Its smile splinters into fragments of hollow perfection. Every posture, every measured word, every rehearsed kindness dissolves before your eyes. The voice mourns with you. Perfection was your last lie. You do not try to repair it. You let it fall. The ego screams, a ragged, desperate sound clawing at the edges of your mind. But the walls crumble. The masks shatter. Dust settles over what was once impossible to reach. And in the ruin something stirs, something real, raw, human. You breathe. The voice lingers, soft but undeniable. When the lie dies, the human is born. You enter the chamber without sound. The air is still, heavy with absence and something like peace. Around you, fragments of yourself gathered in the dark. The trembling child, the masks that melted, the shadow that waited. All of them here, silent but alive. You sit, your breath slow, your body empty of performance. There is no need to run, no need to hide. The voice speaks gently without demand. Acceptance is not forgiveness. It's reunion. You feel the truth settle inside you, not as triumph but as stillness. It is not easy. It is not complete. It is simply the closing of a door and the opening of another. The air tastes of old earth and quiet. You look inward and see the fractured whole waiting for you. The voice leans closer, a question without answer. Now that you've faced the darkness, can you bear to love it? A faint light seeps into the chamber, not bright, not holy, but warm and human. It rests gently on your skin, soft as breath after a long silence. You inhale deeply, tasting the air you have not known you held. For the first time, your shadow breathes with you, slow, steady, no longer something to fight. Around you, the fragments shift. They are no longer separate, no longer hidden. The child, the masks, the voices, they gather quietly, folding into something whole. The voice speaks, calm, certain. This is integration. This is rebirth. You feel a weight lift, replaced by something quieter, an unspoken knowing. It is not victory. It is not end. It is the soft beginning of truth. A breath that holds both shadow and light. The voice fades, leaving only your own heartbeat. You are no longer divided. Now the real work begins. You rise, standing in the soft glow, your body no longer trembling with fear. The voice returns steady, carrying the weight of centuries. True power is not in domination, nor in serene peace. It is in knowing yourself. Every shadow you faced, every mask you shed, every lie you released, they converge into clarity. You understand now. To embrace both light and dark is not weakness, but freedom. Freedom from judgment, freedom from pretense, freedom from the chains you once thought protected you. The air around you hums with quiet energy, subtle but undeniable. It is not loud, not violent, but it roots you in a strength that cannot be stolen, the voice whispers, almost reverent. Power lies in the space where fear and truth coexist. You feel it, a calm understanding spreading like a tide through your veins. No one can command this. No one can sway the grounded self. And as the light touches every fragment of you, the final truth settles. The one who knows himself cannot be controlled. You step forward, and the darkness loosens its hold. The air grows lighter but heavier with meaning. Each breath feels different, sharper, fuller, carrying the weight of what you have seen. The world above waits, unchanged in shape, but altered in truth. You emerge slowly, as if climbing from the bottom of your own soul. The surface greets you not with light, but with clarity, a rawness that both frees and wounds. The voice watches, patient, somewhere beyond sight. It does not speak, but its presence feels like both pride and distance. You look around. Everything is the same, yet nothing feels familiar. There is relief in the air, but also a whisper of loss. The silence after the storm is not peace. It is the calm of something transformed. The voice returns softly, as if letting you go. You climbed out of the abyss, but you'll always hear its echo. The voice returns, slow, deliberate, like a closing chapter. Before you leave, it says, know this, shadow work never ends. You feel the words settle into your bones, heavy as stone. The journey was not a crossing, but a doorway. And the door never closes. Every day will test you. Every smile, every silence, every choice will ask if you remember. Because the moment you forget your darkness, it will slip back in, quietly, patiently, not as chaos, but as comfort disguised. And then it will rule you again. The air around you hums with tension, a warning stitched into your own breath. The voice leans closer, its tone both stern and gentle. Awareness is not a cure. It is a discipline. You stand at the threshold, knowing the work has only just begun. The path stretches beyond sight, and somewhere beneath it all the shadow waits. You stand alone, no voices, no shadows moving, no light that blinds, no darkness that devours, only silence, deep, infinite, whole. The air holds its breath. Every fragment of yourself, the child, the masks, the shame, the light, the shadow, rests here together. Not conquered, not erased, but known. And in knowing, they are still. The voice returns faint now, as if slipping away. To know yourself is to hold hands with your shadow and never let go. There is no judgment here, no demand, only a quiet that feels like truth itself. You close your eyes, and the weight lifts. Not because it is gone, but because it has been carried. The world fades into black. And in the stillness, one final whisper remains. Now you are free.